Hi there, it's Pete the Hipster King and
Dave the Grey.
from the Hairy Game Lords, and this evening you're in for a treat because this is our second review of this Fatal Knockout from Crabtree Studios. What did we think? Stay tuned to find out. So, if you didn't watch our first review,
Stop!
Scroll right down. It was quite a while ago. We played this first at Aircon probably 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. It's a difficult one to remember.
It was a lockdown,
I think it might
just
it was
post-lockdown Aircon.
So we played this with the designer Niall and really enjoyed the sort of the way that the whole combat works. We'll talk about that in a minute. But realistically, if you want to learn about that and what we thought about the original game, go and have a look at that one. Today we're here to talk about the 2 expansions, which are High Rollers and Oddities, which bring you a whole 8 new fighters to the stage, each of which comes with additional skills, different moves, different combos, different setups, all of which brings a something fresh to the game. And we'll go through a few other ones we've had a look at. We're not going to go through all 8 because that's kind of not how we do things. We'll just go through our couple of favourites and what we liked about them. So,
Okay, so yes. Now, if you like rolling dice in a card-based game, you're in luck because we now have the Gambler, who is on here. Who's he fighting against? Magician, I think, isn't he?
yeah, the Magician.
So the Gambler has a whole load of actually quite powerful cards when you actually look at them, but you have some dice, 12-sided dice, and there we go. You get to roll some dice in a purely card-based game. How cool is that? There you go. So what those do is you roll your dice at the start of the turn, and then you have to allocate dice to the cards that you play. And if you manage to roll high, you get access to some really cool stuff. So extra range, extra damage. Some of them, if you roll particularly well, the mix-up attribute of some of the cards, it allows you to do that and gives you more options, opportunities to switch things around. So it's kind of one of those high-risk, high-reward kind of guys. If you want straightforward, easy, reliable, this guy is not for you. If you want to put your chances in the lap of the gods, the Gambler is the one to go for.
On stage at the minute, we also have the Magician. What I like about the Magician, you'll notice there are 2 magicians on stage.
I do not like the Magician. Just like to say that now.
In battle, and basically at one point you can bring in your double act. So you start off with just one magician. You use your double act card to spawn that second magician who will come in. Now, one of those magicians is the real magician, the other is a hologram. And so
you end up punching the hologram is what Pete's trying to say.
So in essence, you've got a mobile shield, I suppose you could see it as. So one of your characters is going to be, and you can decide as the magician whether you move you will know who your hologram and who your magician is, but the other player won't. There are 2, you put tokens on the board, you know what they are, but they don't. Until the time that either you make an attack and or you get attacked. If the other character attacks the hologram, you then have to show your character. But there are other tokens. There's a misdirection card which allows you to at any point take and swap your character. So so that allows you to keep attacking but swapping your magician, and because when you attack you kind of show yourself. But if you swap before, get your characters into position so you can do that. So that's the Magician.
What Pete's trying to say is if you enjoy really annoying other people, the Magician is the one to go for.
Absolutely.
Perfect for Pete.
A couple of other highlights that I enjoyed. Surge is 2 reasons I like Surge. One of my dogs is called Surge, so already he's jumping out as a favourite. With Surge, it's all about energy. So whenever you move with Surge, Each player character has a set of cards and a board, as you know. Serge's board is slightly different from the standard boards because on the edge here of Serge's board, you have this kinetic energy track. And whenever Serge moves or is moved, the little energy token moves up there. Now, the danger of that is if you get into the red zone and stay in the red zone by the end of your turn, you're going to do damage, which gives your opponent the opportunity, if they can move you, if their cards are late on in the turn in terms of initiative order, which is the pain in the backside of this game, you've got to understand that there will be times when you've got the perfect move planned, you've got your cards out, you've planned it perfectly, but of course you don't know where your cards are going to fall in terms of initiative order. If your opponent places cards that split that up or just play around with the positioning of your characters, your whole move can kind of go well, not necessarily go to waste, but definitely not give you the attack that you'd wanted. This could happen with Serge. So you could potentially have managed your energy really well to leave you with a nice attack, used a bit of your energy, and then you get moved by your opponent at the end of the turn, taking you back up into the red. You're going to have damage done to you. But the kinetic energy can be used almost like a multiplier on your attacks, because that's how you get rid of energy. And you can do some, if you can time it right with the right amount of energy, you can do like 3 points of damage in a big massive melee attack, which obviously with only needing 5 damage to kill your opponent could swing a game. But you have to get it right at the right time. And I think we both found with this game, the challenge for us, we haven't played this game loads and loads and loads, and it is absolutely a game that requires you, I think, to really get into the depth of the characters that you're playing with.
Knowing where your cards are, because obviously one of the things you can do is burn your cards, put them in your pocket or discard them to draw new cards, and knowing what your deck's got and the chances of things coming up is quite important in that kind of thing. Bossman, if I can just talk about this fella, this one is particularly like that because some of his moves are really, really powerful, but getting them off is really, really hard work. So he's all about grabbing hold of people and pushing them around. And you also have this new combo card, which his main move really is a grab hold, do 1 point of damage, push somebody back up to 3 spaces. And if you have that combo card that you play at the same time, that lets you grab somebody, push them back up to 4 spaces, then move yourself up to 4 spaces, grab them again, and push them back again, by which point you can very easily, what's that, 4 plus 4, if I take my shoes and socks off, is 8, and all of a sudden you've gone from there, you've got them against sort of the back of the ropes, doing another point. That could be very easily 3 points of damage if you start off right next to them. And when you've got people like, I nearly said a rude word, people like the magician who are like, oh, you're not attacking me, you're attacking my invisible mate. It's very, very annoying. Very, 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 very annoying. So yeah, getting that first move of a combo off.
Yeah.
When it comes off is great, because I think that last game, what did I do? Like 3 points of damage to you and I was like, it was like plaiting fog until I got hold of you, and then it was at least 2 bang, bang, bang. And that is really good when it comes off. Getting it to actually come off can be really frustrating sometimes, but I guess when it does come off, that makes it more rewarding. So yeah, getting your strategy and planning right, I think it does benefit from knowing, like anything like this, from knowing your deck, knowing your character, and probably knowing the tricksy moves that your opponent's going to throw. Because that's the worst one, is, like Pete said, setting yourself up perfectly with a perfect set of combos, and then all of a sudden,
many times
we just like move slightly to the left, and you're just there going, miss. Oh, I've just walked past you and punched thin air.
So in terms of the game as a whole, I would say if you enjoy a programming game, it's a good example of a programming game. It plays relatively quickly, so you are talking probably. It could go really quickly. I could see a game being 5 or 10 minutes. You're probably more likely, particularly if you've got a bit of thought and you're learning the game, you're talking 20, 25 minutes a game to start with. It is a game that has, after the first few turns, you get used. There's a relatively large amount of iconography, not ridiculous amount of iconography. You need to get your head around that.
Yeah, it's not Mage Knight levels of iconography.
No.
But everybody tends to have their own little set of special rules.
And every player comes with its own reference card, so you've got that. Will that affect things?
I have no idea. Possibly, probably not. I don't know.
We'll keep going. So Ange, just to let you know, that was a phone call coming in, so I'm not sure whether that will affect the video or
Is
not.
It still coming in?
I think it probably is.
Hello, Gregor!
We'll keep going.
I'll wait till he goes away. Okay.
We'll give it a go. So, he'll just be wanting an extra fight. Oh.
Can
we go into it? Oh. If you're wondering if Faithful Knockout is a game for you, I guess a few things to think about. Firstly, programming games aren't for everybody, so it's about thinking ahead, planning ahead, working out what moves you're going to do in what order. So picking the right cards in terms of initiative order to try and set up the move that you're wanting to do.
Yeah.
So there's a fair bit of planning, but that planning, there is also within that, I guess, the opportunity for frustration, because the other player can do things that will then change your plan.
Yeah.
And
it's also very easy to screw yourself over as well.
Yes.
By not realising that actually you have to do everything on the card. You can't, or generally you have to do everything on the card. You can't choose not to move. If the card says move, you have to move. And especially as a beginner, it's very easy to overlook that bit, and suddenly you've played a 3 initiative card and a 5 initiative card, but you played the 5 first and then the 3, not realising that they're going to do that, and the 3 comes first, and then you face palm because all of a sudden you've done stuff incompletely. So there is a bit of processing, which I think you'll either really, really love or really hate. So I think programming card games, this is a classic programming game.
Yeah.
So
it is absolutely beautifully put together. So you can see the theming in the game is brilliant. I love the artwork. So it's appealing from that respect. It's the kind of game somebody would look at and say, well, this looks interesting. What's this about?
I can see straight away it's a 80s like arcade fighty game.
Let's play.
Yeah. It does what it says on the tin pretty much.
I think, because we've already said with the kind of the iconography is a little bit of a learning curve, but probably 3-4 turns into a round, you know what's going on and you're away. And what I think the biggest challenge for this game is the fact that actually there is a level of strategic depth to it. So it's a simple game to get the very basics of it in terms of what you do on a turn, how you play, that type of thing. That is relatively simple. Actually developing strategies for each of the characters and understanding the impact of the characters that you're playing and their specific strategies is where there's actually a lot of depth to this game. So what looks like quite a light game, and is light in terms of its early pickup, actually there is real depth to this game that would require lots of coming back to and regular play. So
at which point it probably is a classic example of your 80s cabinet arcade game, because you can put your 10p in, and this was me, I'll be honest, you can put your 10p in and go waggle, 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 and every now and then you'll beat the master, or you can know exactly what you're doing and be doing that that a friend of mine used to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I can win, you know, Way of the Exploding Fist. That probably dates me horribly. With
It's not one I remember,
with
Dave.
one hand.
I'll be talking Tekken. Yeah, where I'm going, but there we go.
But, you know, has all of the special moves and, you know,
Knows at which
all
point-
of the combos, you know, XXX triangle, XX triangle, and does something ridiculous. And every now and then you're going to lose to the fool like me who's just banging buttons and hoping for the best. But it does encourage that learning the combos and strategic play. It's just substantially harder than it looks at face value, because you walk past an arcade cabinet and somebody's just banging buttons and waggling the stick about. How hard can that be? Actually quite hard when you try and do it.
And this has got that. So I think being aware that there is a level of depth to this game that would attract gamers who are willing to put the time in. It's not, you know, it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes to half hour a game, so you could get through this quite quickly and play a number of characters, get to learn a character. In terms of the additions that the expansions bring, if you like the idea of this game, I think the expansions just give you more depth, more opportunity to change things up, really interesting additional ideas and styles of fighting that create it. So if you've already got it and you love it, it's a no-brainer. Get the expansions. They will increase your love of the game. They bring in heaps of different styles of play, so really worth it. And if you're pretty sure you're going to like this, watch some playthroughs, get some ideas of how that. I would consider, you know, I tend to go all in on games if I'm going all in. They definitely add something new and bring fresh meat to the fight.
Yeah, it's the extra cool unlockable characters basically that actually you probably wish I could play him sort of from the start. Yeah. So yeah, definitely some of the extra characters are very cool, interesting themes, I think. Apart from the magician, who's just
Oh, Dave, don't be too salty.
horrible. So, check it out. Fatal Knockout from Niall Crabtree of Crab Studios.